Mabatid, Noong, Member Manya Jr., Eduardo Rama Jr., Member Jessica Rash, Member David Tumulak, Member Joy Augustus Young, Member Philip Zafra, Member Eugenio Gabuya Jr. Thank you. Mr. Chairman, there are 13 members in attendance this afternoon, including the chairman.
Before I bang the Monday regular session, have complied the quorum, may the presiding officer be properly informed if there are members of this august body that have communicated that they cannot be around.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, Member Young advised the office that he will not be able to attend the regular session this afternoon. Having
And
said
what
that, I
is the
recognize...
reason? May
He filed a leave, Mr. Chairman.
has it again?
He filed a leave with the office, Mr. Chairman. He filed a leave.
He filed a leave.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
How about the others?
No information about the whereabouts of the other members, Mr. Chairman. Having said that, I recognize the presence of Member Franklin Ong.
Yeah, we missed you yesterday, on last Monday. Yesterday, was it yesterday?
Yesterday,
On
Mr.
our
Chairman.
very
Lively.
intelligently conducted public hearing. So please connect with the respective offices and check, and then I will inquire about their not being around and the reason why they are not around.
Yes.
And by the way, maybe later, again, I would like to call and take this opportunity also to later to call the attention of my members of my party about caucus presence later on, as we would know whether the rest are coming. Now, having known obviously the numbers, as you have already called the roll call,
Yes.
I'll place it on record that we had this January 22, 2020 Wednesday, a session called Complying the Quorum. Majority floor leader,
Mr. Chairman, may hapon ug may hapon sa atong mga members sa August Body ug sa atong mga bisita. I would like to move for the following: to dispense with the reading of the minutes of the executive session held on January 8, 2020, to dispense with the reading of the minutes of the regular session to dispense with the reading of the minutes of the executive session held on January 8, 2020, to dispense with the reading of the minutes of the regular session held on January 15, 2020, and to dispense with the reading of the minutes of the regular session, to dispense with the reading of the resume of the regular session held on January 15, 2020, and also to approve the minutes of the executive session held on January 8, 2020, to approve the minutes of the regular session held on January 15, 2020, and to approve also the resume of the regular session held on January 15, 2020, all in an omnibus manner. So move, Mr. Chairman.
discussion,
Discussion, Mr. Chairman.
go ahead.
On the minutes on January 15, because as I recall, Mr. Chairman, with due respect with our SP Secretary, before the bang of the gavel, prior to the adjournment of the regular session that was being held last January 15, it was being agreed on the scheduled public hearing on my proposed ordinance. It was January 28. Then you bang the gavel, it seems that the motion is hereby approved. But basically, our SP secretary went to my table and said, it's okay for the January 21 public hearing. And she advised to amend the motion. But I never amend the motion because it was being adjourned. And there was also a motion coming from my colleagues and said that there would be an amendment, motion to suspend the House rules. I would just like to clarify those issues, Mr. Chairman, so that this would not be happen again on the next session, a future session. Because as I read the minutes, it was being changed. It was never mentioned that it was being amended. So that's my comment, Mr. Chairman.
You are bringing your observation to the Sangguniang Panlungsod
SP Secretary.
May we hear from the SP Secretary on her comment on the view of Member Tumulak?
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairman,
For a while, I am bringing, because a statement, this is very important.
I would just like to know, Mr. Chairman.
Before answering, go ahead.
Yeah, I would just like to ask Member Tumulak what particular ordinance that was scheduled earlier. Is it yesterday's public hearing?
Yes,
Okay.
it was yesterday's public hearing, but based on my account, and we also heard that the public hearing would be this coming January 28th.
So that is the reason why you're not able to attend yesterday's public hearing.
I was not feeling well, and at the same time, that was not being agreed upon. And it was not being agreed upon.
Now, actually, Member Tumulak,
Yeah, I think
having
it's okay.
been too ubiquitous during the Sinulog, that would only mean he was roaming around like Member Sapra. And Member Sapra wasn't also here in the public hearing. Am I correct? Because the spirit may be willing, but the body cannot.
Yeah, I think,
So-
Mr. Chairman, it's a valid excuse also for Member Tumulak if he were not able to attend he was not able to attend the public hearing kay 28 gyud niya sayo kayo gi schedule. So I think these things should be corrected. I think I agree with that, Mr. Chairman.
But yes, we will be hearing from the secretary. But bear in mind, if only you are also physically around, but we cannot be moving actually, and it was already being placed on schedule. But right was the statement of Member Tumulak on his observation pursuant to his guidance on the minutes. We may now ask the secretary also to make her comment.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I think we are referring to the transcript on page 107. I understand Member Tumulak mentioned that I approached their table. This was to clarify and schedule the date of the public hearing. I understand the urgency of the matter such that when I suggested that we hold the hearing on January 28th, there was a comment that it would be too late, and I was asked to see if we have an opportunity to have the schedule on January 21. In fact, it was an accommodation that we wanted to do because we saw the urgency of the matter, and this anymore cannot be delayed. My apologies to Member Tumulak if he wanted his ordinance to be heard on January 28th, but the motion of Member Garcia was to have his ordinance as well as the ordinance of Member Tumulak to be heard on January 21. When we looked at the schedule for the January 21 hearing, there was only one proposed ordinance, and that was still the ordinance of Member Garcia. And this was precisely the reason why we split the sessions into two when the body decided to have the public hearings on a different date. That this was precisely the reason, to accommodate as many ordinances that the August body could hear. And we understand that we can only hear up to 5 ordinances. We saw that there were opportunities to put in more ordinance for the January 21. My apologies to Member Tumulak. I know he was absent. He would have wanted to hear the sentiments of the invited speakers, but I'm sorry, I apologize, sir. I'll just go to your office to see
Member
what we can
Tumulak.
do.
Accepted,
For that.
Mr. Chairman. Accepted the apology. This is an eye-
Apology accepted.
And this is an eye-opener also for all of us, Mr. Chairman. And may I request also our SP Secretariat to have it recorded on the process and the conversation so that we can double-check
Yes, sir.
by the time we will make a transcript, we will follow what was being heard on the recorded tape. Because as what I've seen on the minutes, because this is an official.
Yes,
This
sir.
is an
You,
official.
you are bringing in your computer.
Yes,
Is it
No, it's-
being put in my computer here? No.
yes, Mr. Chairman, it's the same.
But I'm trying to bring what you are reading.
It's the same. Actually, Mr. Chairman, my point here is my conversation and the motion that was being filed. Actually, this was started when Member Archival requested for a public hearing, another public hearing. So I agreed to have it a public hearing. And as a proponent, I should have been the person to ask the date. So I requested 21. But because of the request of the Sangguniang Secretariat that on the 21st we have lots of discussion, we have lots of agenda that was being tackled, the reason why they move it on the 28th. So you bang the gavel as approved. And then she approached me and said, few minutes after you bang the gavel, few minutes, she went to my table and asked, it's okay for the 21st. And she requested me to amend
Mr.
the
Chairman,
motion
privilege motion.
on the 21st.
Can we have 1
Mr.
minute recess?
Member Archibald,
1 minute recess.
1 minute.
Recess.
Member, resume.
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead.
moving from my previous motion, Mr. Chairman, on an omnibus manner.
No objection, carried.
Mr. Chairman, one member of this august body has signified his intention to deliver a privileged speech, and that person is no other than the Panday of Cebu City, Member Joel Garganera. May we request that he be recognized?
Mr.
You are
Chair,
given 15 minutes, Mr. Chairman.
3 minutes.
The speaker is given 15 minutes for this speech.
Just 3 minutes.
3 minutes, thank you.
Mr. Chair, fellow members of the City Council, friends from the media, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I stand before you today as a matter of personal and collective privilege, not only concerning this representation, but the entire city of Cebu. The past few weeks has been filled with grand festivities and numerous events. Countless of families and friends have come together to celebrate Christmas, New Year, and the famous Sinulog Festival in our city. Aside from the local Cebuanos coming together, is the influx of tourists coming from all parts of the world. During the Sinulog Festival itself, millions of devotees gathered together to profess their faith to the child Jesus and Batubalani sa Gugma, or the magnet of love. Of course, together with this grand celebration is great responsibility on the part of the city to ensure peace and order and safety and security before, during, and after the festival. The preparation of this celebration has gone for months. And in the duration of the festivities, our public servants and law enforcers were on high alert, ready to respond to any emergency at any given time, and has probably spent a couple of sleepless nights. Moreover, after the Sinulog festival has ended, the aftercare is the most tedious job, as well as securing the safe return of the tourists to their own homes. Behind the grand festival are those who have tirelessly worked to ensure the success of this event. With this, I'm delivering this privileged speech to express our congratulations to those who made our Sinulog Festival a success. First and foremost, let us congratulate Mayor Edgar Colina Labella, our Vice Mayor Michael Lopez Rama, together with the PRO 7 Regional Director General Val de Leon, the RDO Colonel Giovanni Maynes, and the recent Director Soriano, Director Colonel Engel Soriano, Colonel Rosario, Father Aladin Luzon of the Basilica del Santo Niño, CCDRMO, and all of the members and officers of the police from all of the provinces and cities in Region 7, the military and other units and agencies, also called the Task Force Sinulog, who are primarily responsible for the safety and security during the Sinulog Festival. Next, let us give our congratulations to our fellow members of the Council, particularly Member Philip Zafra, for his tireless efforts in the duration of the festival. That was the duration nga naragid siya sa Cebu City, huwag siya maabot dito laing lugar. And to the rest of the members of the City Council who has given their time and effort of making the celebration a success, together with Vice Mayor Michael Rama, the likes of Councilor Dave Tumulak, Jessica Resch, our ABC, Eduardo Rama, Renato Asmeña, Raymond Garcia, and others. Let us all congratulate also the partner offices, namely, the Mayor's Office, the Zafra staff members, the Cebu City Council, DGS, DSWS, DMDP, BMS, DPS, CCIT, PRO, POP, CCTO, CSU, Parks and Playground, Mix, COSAP, and City Health. Let us also acknowledge our partner agencies and volunteers group, namely CCPO, Army, BPAT, MCWD, of course the TISA, Barangay Council officials, employees led by Barangay Captain Ringo Pacania, as well as the congregation in the Basilica Minor de Santo Niño through Father Alan Aladin Luzon, including the different barangays who volunteered to assist during the celebration of the Sinulog Festival. I would like also to thank His Excellency the President Rodrigo Roa Duterte for gracing the event, and the Office of the Presidential Assistant for the Visayas, Secretary Michael Dino. More importantly, let us congratulate the Sinulog Foundation Incorporated and the Cebu City Sinulog Governing Board for turning ideas into this magnificent celebration. Lastly, thank you to each and every Cebuano for making it a peaceful and lively celebration with no major incident. Og sa mga nakalimtan ako pag-mention, ang atong balaang bata, Senyor Santo Niño na ang bahala kaninyo. With this, Mr. Chair, I move to note this privileged speech and move to furnish a copy of this privileged speech to the aforementioned personalities and agencies. So move in an omnibus manner, Mr. Chair.
Are you not agreeing to have it approved in mass?
Certainly, Mr. Chair.
So it's being presented by one that it will be in mass motion. Has it been duly seconded? The mass motion. Discussion, objection, hearing none, in mass. It is carried. Next.
Next item, item F, Committee Report of the Ad Hoc Committee on PAGCOR Funds and Finances.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair. I go straight to the recommendation of the ad hoc committee. Number one, resolve to approve the committee report charging 1,200,000 pesos to the City PAGCOR funds. Second, resolve further to authorize the acting city secretary to furnish a copy to this report to the proponent and concerned officers for their information and guidance and appropriate action. So move, Mr. Chair.
No objection. Carried.
Mr. Chairman, the next item is the completion of the business unfinished during the previous session. Is the final deliberation and third reading of the proposed ordinance of yours truly. Mr. Chairman, I move to defer this for another week. So move, Mr. Chairman.
No objection. Carried. Next.
Next item.
Item H, resolutions of this August body approved by the mayor, items
Member
1 to
Garcia.
9.
Move to note items 1 to 9 in an omnibus manner. So move, Mr. Chairman.
No objection. Carried.
Next item is item I, consideration of the present business, letters and endorsements. We have numbers 1 to 6.
Mr. Chairman, move to note items 1 to 6 in an omnibus manner. So move, Mr. Chairman.
No objection. Carried.
Corollary motion. For number 3, Mr. Chairman, move to authorize the posting and the issuance of a certification thereafter. For item number 4, Mr. Chairman, move to refer this back to Barangay Tejero, informing them that the mayor does not have any jurisdiction over DPWH projects. Number 6, Mr. Chairman, just to note, that's all, Mr. Chairman. So move in an omnibus manner.
Mr. Chairman.
For a while. Ms. Secretary,
Yes, Mr.
have
Chairman.
you already noticed that there are other members of this August body
Yes,
that
Mr.
came
Chairman.
in
Yes, Mr.
after I
Chairman.
banged?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. We acknowledge the presence of members Eduardo Rama Jr., member Jerry Guardo, and member Jessica Resch.
Then leaving only one
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
mabatid.
She is
Eh,
coming. She's on her
she
way,
is
Mr.
coming.
Chairman. Yes.
Okay. So, proceed, please.
Mr. Chair.
Member Gabuya.
Just I inquiry, Mr. Chair, on item 4, which we referred earlier to, refer it back to Barangay Tejero. May I know, Mr. Chairman, if we have budget, even if this is for DPWH, but this is in connection with the floods, Mr. Chairman. So the Cebu City should be involved on this, Mr. Chairman. And according to the letter, they were asking for the mayor to release the funds for the affected families.
Mr. Chairman, I think we should let member Guardo, who is the committee chairman of Committee
Guardo.
on Infrastructure.
Yes, Mr. Chair. With regard to item number 4, Mr. Chair, the funds actually were coming from DPWH National and it's already downloaded to the city funds the amount of 140 million pesos. But as agreed, we will not be giving a financial incentive to the affected families. Rather, we will build a relocation site. We have already identified the property for the possible relocation site, and then we will build a MRB, medium-rise building to house these affected families, Mr. Chairman.
So in other words, Mr. Chairman, our action on item 4 is not appropriate to give it back to Barangay Tejero.
Well, I think we still have to give it back to Barangay Tejero, Mr. Chairman, but with the statement now of Member Guardo that the funds will be used actually to purchase the property for the construction of a medium-rise building.
Yeah.
May I?
Because
Yes.
my understanding, Mr. Chairman, in referring it back to Tejero, it means that we are not anymore involved on the solving
I
of
would
the
suggest-
floods, Mr. Chairman.
A corollary motion will be in order to bring to Member Guardo to take the cudgel of bringing whoever are concerned writing this letter so that you can tell them rather than bringing it back to them. What do you think,
Okay,
Member
Mr. Chairman,
Garcia?
so that being the case, Mr. Chairman, I will just withdraw my corollary motion for item number 4.
Okay, and then you can come in with a corollary motion on what I have suggested. Member Gabuya,
Yeah, corollary motion, Mr. Chairman, to refer this to the Committee on Infrastructure? Am I correct?
Yes. And take the cudgel
Second,
of
second.
listening
Mr.
to them and
Second.
guiding them.
Second.
Seconded,
Chairman,
Member
in
Dizon.
addition, Mr. Chairman, as a way forward, may I respectfully suggest to Member Guardo to meet with the barangay officials of Tejero and discuss what kind of assistance we can give to the affected families. Because, in the spirit of people's participation in governance, Mr. Chairman.
As
Noted on that, Mr. Chairman.
intimated, please have it noted. Okay,
Yes,
and
Mr.
be
Chairman.
guided about it. Next item,
Mr. Chairman,
go ahead.
Chairman,
I move for the reconsideration of item F since there was already a favorable approval recommendation from the Committee on PAGCOR Funds. I move for the approval of the resolution. So move, Mr. Chairman.
Item,
Item F, Mr. Chairman.
discussion. Hearing none. Carried.
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead.
consideration item I5, Mr. Chairman.
Item,
I5.
go ahead.
To send a copy of this letter from Attorney Pacheco Charez to the proponent, Mr. Chairman, to consider the observations of Attorney Charez, Mr. Chairman.
You are bringing it to,
To the proponent of this ordinance, Mr. Chairman, Member Rama
Member
and
Rama,
Member
Chair.
Dizon.
this is what is the subject matter of the ordinance?
This is in regard to the Freedom of Information Ordinance, Mr. Chairman. This representation has received a copy already, Mr. Chairman, of the suggestions and opinions of Attorney Charez 2 weeks ago, Mr. Chairman. So it's duly noted, Mr. Chairman.
Next item,
Next item is on the proposed resolutions and ordinances sponsored by the following city councilors. Number 7, proposed resolution of Member Nestor Archival Sr.
go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, moving for its approval. So move, Mr. Chairman.
No objection, carried.
Next item is item number 8, proposed resolutions of Member Antonio Cuenco, letters A to B.
Member
Cuenco.
Cuenco,
Mr. Chairman,
go ahead.
I move for the suspension of the rules of the House in order to recognize the presence of the gentlemen who are here, who are members of the USPF, who recently won the first Lockton Philippines Legacy Awards for their research entitled Ibasura IT.
We recognize, but we start first with item A. Item A first.
Yes, before we recognize the gentleman above mentioned, we move for the approval of our resolution.
Seconded, discussion, amendment, no objection, carried. Now we go to the item. Member Cuenco move for the suspension. And it's being seconded, discussion, amendment, no objection, suspension of the House rule is carried. Now we may ask already, and you can enumerate the following.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the present are the following gentlemen. The President of the University, Attorney Paulino Yabao, who is here, and his associates, Lester Gazula, the Vice President, Mrs. Rosalina Sepulveda, Director for Finance, Dr. Philip Joel Masangay, Director for
Makugay.
Research, Dr. Advon Dimano, Dean, College of Computer Science, and Mr. Boy Archibald Ranoy, Advisor of the Research Team, as well as Mr. John Deo Katupos, Bachelor of Science and Information Technology, a student. They're here before us, and they would like to shake the hands of the members of
For a
the
while.
council.
For a while, maybe for the guidance and education of the council, especially this is the university also where I came from. May we request the president perhaps to approach the podium and tell us what this whole competition is about.
Mr. President.
And later, after the president and also former hermano of the Basilica and former vice president of the university where Hontiveros came from, the Cha-Cha-Cha, you know what Cha-Cha-Cha? CCC, but now University of Cebu. Now you can have the podium and tell us the whole award.
The Honorable Presiding Officer of this august body, the honorable members of the Sangguniang Panlungsod of the City of Cebu, friends, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. We're highly privileged to be given this recognition and been invited at the instance of Honorable Tonyo V. Quinco for this privilege and recognition given by the Sangguniang Panlungsod. In response to the request of the presiding officer, the award is given by Lacton Philippines. In the celebration of its 25th anniversary, the company launched the first Lacton Philippines Legacy Awards last April 2019. It is designed to recognize action research initiatives that promote responsible and efficient use of resources and help bring positive change in the way people look at protecting the environment. After a total of 36 participating universities throughout the Philippines, including the cream of the crop in Metro Manila, and with 48 action research proposals were submitted, the student researchers from the College of Computer Studies of the University of Southern Philippines Foundation, or USPF, emerged as the overall grand prize winner. The young and vibrant information technology students, Mr. Arcaya, Mr. Catolpos, Mr. Viduya, and their advisor, Mr. Ranay, submitted the winning entry entitled Ibasura IT or Ibasura IT, Online Monitoring and Tracking Solution of Smart Solid Waste Containers. Their action research talks about the ability to improve segregation and collection of waste in Cebu City. The study proposes the use of technology to automate the process through the use of smart containers. The containers contain monitoring and tracking features to improve the current approach to waste management from collection to disposal to designated landfill. The idea allows the group to build the future now and addresses a common problem in the community, including here in the city of Cebu. Now, the award was announced last December 8, but the awarding took effect and was only made last January 7 by Lacton Philippines here in Cebu City itself. And according to the CEO and the president of Lacton Philippines, the USPF, being the grand prize winner, bested all the best universities in Metro Manila and other parts of the country. My friends, ladies and gentlemen, we at USPF are humbled with this recognition given by Lacton Philippines as well as by this august body. And we will be more proactive and accept the challenge of protecting environment. So we hope then that this research project of the USPF IT students would be adopted by the City of Cebu or any local government unit, and hopefully we can alleviate the problems that we are now encountering in environment, especially in the proper and timely disposal of trash and garbage here in the city.
If the
Thank you.
presiding officer may inquire, may request, provide us the documentation and give the chair, because I'm the chairman of the environment, and member Rama is in charge also on, which is now actively involved in handling the waste management in the city of Cebu. Am I correct, Member Rama?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
So please provide us the
yeah.
copy.
We'll be honored to give this august body and the council
Yes,
the
and
copy of that.
especially him and yours truly and the rest of the council. And in connection with their presence, I'd like to declare a 1-minute recess,
Mr. Chair.
take them to be congratulated, and all of us to have a picture taking with my university.
Mr. Chair.
Member Gabuya.
Just very quick, Mr. Chair. May I know how much is we could spend if we are going to purchase smart solid waste containers? Because this is the highlight actually of the basura IT, no?
Well, actually, it depends on the extent and the scope of the territory to be covered by this particular project.
It's in the research, am I
It's in
correct?
the research, yes.
So all facts and other important
Definitely. Yeah,
data are all available in the research paper.
sure.
Okay, research for picture taking and handshaking.
Again, we are thankful for the presence of the University President, Attorney Paulino Yabao, the Director of Finance, Mrs. Rosalina Sepulveda, the Vice President for Information and Communications Technology, Mr. Lester Gastala, the Director for Research, Dr. Philip Joel Makugay, the Dean of the College of Computer Sciences, Dr. Aaron Dinawanao, and the winners, Mr. John Dayod Catulpos and Mr. Boy Archibald Ranay, the advisor.
Can I have the awardee up here? And then, Mr. President, and then some incorporate with the picture taking. Ale mo, Mr. President.
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead.
the next item is the proposed resolution of
Mr. Chairman,
member.
before that,
Very well,
Mr. Chairman,
before that, Member Gabuya,
Yeah,
and then there is Member Franklin Ong.
on item B of the sponsored resolution of Member Quinco, Mr. Chairman, I find it very interested, Mr. Chairman, on this item which was presented by the President, Mr. Chairman, because I think it can really help our problem with regards to the waste disposal, Mr. Chairman. So if possible, if we could arrange or we could request for them to just make a presentation of the whole concept, Mr. Chairman.
Why not? A
Can be
corollary
in,
motion will be in order.
Public hearing or an executive session, Mr. Chairman.
Citizens hour.
Yes. So
Okay.
I think Member Gabuya should make a corollary motion.
So move, Mr. Chairman. I am moving for a corollary motion to request the
Seconded.
USPF.
Yeah.
Second.
Carried.
Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, anyway, we know the gist of your
That's right, Mr. Chairman.
presentation. Member Ong,
Mr. Chairman, asking for consideration of letter endorsement item number 6, Mr. Chairman, to also copy furnish Citizen Row.
seconded.
Second.
Carried.
Thank you.
Next item.
Next item is number 9, proposed resolution and ordinance of Member Alvin Dizon. Letters A to B.
On item A, Mr. Chairman, moving for its approval. May I ask for the schedule of the proposed citizens' hour,
The
Mr.
schedule
Chairman?
for the proposed Citizens Hour is on February 5.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Next
On
item.
item B, Mr. Chairman,
Let me read the title, sir. Ordinance entitled, An Ordinance Establishing a Wellness and Healthy Lifestyle Program in all barangays of Cebu City, appropriating funds thereof and for other purposes.
move to refer this to the Committee on Laws, Mr. Chairman.
No discussion, no objection. Carried.
Number 10, proposed resolutions and ordinance of Member Eugenio Gabuya Jr.
Member
Letters A
Gabuya.
to D.
Omnibus approval, Mr. Chairman. So move.
Granting, requesting.
Except letter D, Mr. Chairman.
Carried. Next.
Yeah, corollary motion on C, Mr. Chairman, to give us this list in weeks' time, Mr. Chairman. Na. And for letter D, Mr. Chairman, move to refer this to the Committee
Was
on
this
Laws.
the one? Is this item about December?
Yeah.
It's items.
Carried. Next.
Item 11, proposed resolutions and ordinance of Member Raymond Alvin Garcia. Letters A to R.
Mr. Chairman, for moving for its omnibus approval, items A to L in an omnibus manner. So move, Mr. Chairman. For
Chairman.
item,
All requirements.
Mr. Chairman.
Member Hontiveros complied with, and Member Resch, please do not forget about your role,
Mr.
because
Chairman.
some may not have the chance anymore of checking, and for all of us to be properly also guided, so that we will not be reverting later, because there are resolutions with documentations that are wanting. Member Hontiveros, so please, just as I have reminded, this August body will already, as I have assigned to Ms. Rest, our council lady, and gentlemen Hontiveros, that all documentation of our agenda find time to check if all are complied with, especially on some requirements. Is that
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
clear and loud, Member Hontiveros and Member Resch? Thank you very much.
Mr.
Member
Chairman.
Hapson,
And item N, Mr. Chairman.
go ahead.
item M, I did not move yet for its approval.
Member
N pa.
Garcia,
Okay, thank
For
you.
item M, Mr. Chairman, move to withdraw.
item,
M. Mama.
As in Mama.
saan yung numbera?
Number 11,
Number 11,
letter M.
letter
Mama.
M. Okay,
M, withdraw, Mr. Chairman.
Withdrawn.
For N, O, P, and Q, moving for its approval. For
carried
item
without
R,
any objection.
Mr. Chairman.
Member Hapson,
On item N, Mr. Chairman.
item
N.
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 there is no approval from the mayor because this is charged to city-sponsored activities. And to clarify the account number, Mr. Chairman, because there are two accounts in this item, Mr. Chairman. Which is which, Mr. Chairman?
I will, Mr. Chairman, subject to the approval of the mayor, but this has to be approved because this is already, this has already been, this is money, food for the police, for the Cebu City contingent, as well as the costumes and subsidies, Mr. Chairman, for the Sinulog. So, subject to the signed approval of the mayor, I move for its approval.
And also, Mr.
Yeah, for a
Chairman.
while. 1 minute recess.
Di, man na go activity-an po. Man na ba? Pinulog. Tod, man na ako. Konsman. Lagi, pero man ang activity. Ako lang.
Anyway, before tamo bang, totoy,
Okay. Okay, Mr. Chairman.
gapuan pampili po sa milibar. Look, I was supposed to wear that long sleeve for my CCTN interview. And nag-usap lang ko. Nagparehat ko utok na. Resume,
Mr. Chairman,
please.
for item N,
November.
for item N, Mr. Chairman, I move to withdraw. So moving for the approval up to letter P. So move, Mr. Chairman.
Mr.
For
Chairman,
item Q,
Mr. Chairman, on item O, Mr. Chairman, there's no CAF, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, subject to the presentation of the CAF, but I think this already presented here, Mr. Chairman, because I asked.
Item what?
MO, Mr.
11O,
Chairman.
Mr. Chairman.
It's already here, Mr. Chairman. I don't know if you received this. I have a copy.
For a while. You're talking about 11.
Oh,
Mine is A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O. You're referring to O?
Mr. Chairman, the CAF is already there, Mr. Chairman. It wasn't attached in the computer. So until item P, Mr. Chairman, moving for its approval. For
Carried.
Q,
Next.
for Q also, Mr. Chairman, moving for its approval.
No
For item
objection,
R,
carried.
for item R,
Let
move
me read the
to.
title. Ordinance entitled, An Ordinance Requiring the Registration of Transport Network Companies or Transport Network Vehicle Services operating within the city of Cebu and
Fair to the
imposing
law, no?
penalties for violations thereof.
Go ahead. Member Garcia.
Move to refer this to the Committee on Laws through the Vice Chairman. So move.
Carried. Next.
Number 12, proposed resolution, an ordinance of Member Joel Garganera, letters A to B.
Mr. Chairman, I'll take the
Chairman.
cudgels for item A, moving for its approval. For
Carried.
item,
Next.
for item
Number
B,
11, letter B, an ordinance providing for the protection and conservation of local historical landmarks, monuments, shrines, museums, and cultural heritage of the city of Cebu as part of the strengthening the provisions of the National Heritage Act of 2009.
Mr. Chairman, move to
Go ahead.
refer this to the Committee on Laws. So move.
No chat.
Also,
Check also.
joint referral to the
Carried.
CHAC.
Joint referral.
Number 13, proposed resolutions of Member Donaldo Hontiveros, letters A to E.
Moving for the approval of items A to E with minor amendment on item C, making it a joint resolution with member Mabatid. So move, Mr. Chairman.
letter-
Before disposing
What
this
what
matter
letter is
for
it?
a while, do we have a snack?
Yes, Mr.
So
Chairman.
what time are we going to have a snack?
I think the snacks are.
We'll finish everything?
Yes.
Okay. There was a joint referral, a joint sponsorship referral.
Resolution.
For which
Sponsorship.
letter, Mr. Chairman?
Letter C.
Letter C, Charlie.
Discussion, Mr. Chairman.
Are you okay with, because I remember we had a caucus, am I referring to this item, Member Hontiveros?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
And I did not like, my reaction was, because this is supposed to be, I think I will give it to you. And then I don't know what action you're being the vice chairperson. Were you able to act on this matter? Member Mabatid?
I'll have to check, Mayor.
That's why, but please check when I am bringing it to whoever, take time to have for a while 1 minute. Okay, tanawan mag-istorya sa mga kariyot. That's a 4 million amount. Because the most important thing, when you talk about 4 million job orders, am I correct?
Mr. Chairman.
How many job orders? Who are these people? Who are the recommendees?
May 30, 30. Ganun ba ginganlan unta may mugod ginganlan. I-attach ang ha. Di ba na? Lagi ginganlan gid. Thank you. Ano ang suluhin ng hatag? Ako hatag, babuhay lang.
Deferred, sir.
Our joint
Member Ontiveros.
Mr. Chairman,
Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
Member Gabuya.
Yeah,
Wait. If Member Ontiveros will do a motion, then you don't have to react anymore.
Move to defer item C, Mr. Chairman.
Karen,
For 1 week.
Mr. Chairman,
go ahead. Corollary motion.
Mr. Chairman, I should have, I was thinking we are still on the discussion portion, but Chairman, but it was already withdrawn.
Correct. Muna siya.
So I will just discuss it later on, Mr. Chairman, when this time comes.
Okay, next item.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chair, consideration on item A, Mr. Chairman. A.
13A, Mr. Chairman.
13A.
Go ahead.
May I ask Member Hontiveros, Mr. Chairman, as to the account code of the charges, Mr. Chairman, because there are 2 certifications signed by the City Treasurer Juanita Monina Pires. The account number is different from the certification of our City Budget Officer.
You're referring to what
Gomia.
item?
Item A, Mr. Chairman. 13A.
13A.
Yes, Mr.
Member
Chairman.
Ontiveros.
What's that again, Member Absent?
Item A.
Item A, there are 2
Explain.
accounts. The other account signed by the City Treasurer, Juanita Monina Pires, and the other one signed by the Budget Officer, Marita Gomia. There are 2 accounts. So which account?
Defer lang sa, defer.
If I may, sir?
Move to
Defer.
defer. Yeah, Mr. Chair.
No, actually, the truth of the matter, before we go to other matter, I'm also very specific about account. That's why, thank you. Every time I ask what account, then I'll check. Saan mo na yung account ta? Okay? Because possibility nga, importante kayo nga. Okay? Thank you very much for looking into that. Next item.
Also, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman,
Member Dizon.
for purposes of discussion, maybe in the future, Mr. Chairman, kung doon na tayo mga sports event nga i-organize sa syudad, would it be possible nga dili na ta mo gamit og Mayor's Cup, himuon na to nga Cebu City Cup or Cebu City Tournament?
Walay nga, no? Walay nga.
Walay nganan. Walay title.
Ipal man na, ipal.
That is precisely my point, Mr. Chairman. In the last 2 sessions, I presented the memorandum circular issued by no less than the President, discouraging discouraging government officials to use their names, no, sa mga events or activities nga ilang himuon. So, with all due respect to the Mayor, Mr. Chairman, mas maayo siguro nga gamito na to ang ngalan gyud sa syudad. Cebu City Tournament, Cebu City Cup, and so on and so forth, Mr. Chairman.
Member Alcusiba.
May I also recommend, Mr. Chairman, that all sports activities should pass through Cebu City Sports Commission for recommendation, Mr. Chairman, because they will be the one to implement on this, Mr. Chairman.
Kinsay member sa commission? Dinhi?
Mr. Chairman, Member Ontiveros, Member Resh, and Member
Isa pa?
Garcia, and Cuenco, Mr. Chairman. I think we're just the 4 councilors who are member. Sa Sports Commission, Mr. Chairman.
Sports Commission, wani mo agi?
I'm not sure, Mr. Chairman. I think,
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, there's
Member Ontiveros.
actually there's this resolution from the board. I'm not sure if Member Resh was there. We can furnish the copies to
1 minute. May batala.
May we ask the secretary to clarify the account numbers if it's the same or not?
If it's the.
Move to resume. Are you ready, Member Ontiveros?
Session.
Moving for reconsideration,
Go
Mr.
ahead.
Chairman, item A. May we ask the SP Secretary regarding the account number from.
To provide a little bit of a context, Mr. Chairman, in a previous resolution, I also saw this seeming disparity between two accounts. So I asked the executive assistant of Member Garcia to check on the two accounts because in the first enumeration, the numbers 200 was there, but in the second account, the 200 numbers, digits were not included. It's a very long, a series of long numbers, Mr. Chairman, but I was told by the budget officer that both accounts pertain to the same account. Both accounts are actually one and the same. I do not know why in some instances they put in the 200 and in other instances the 200 are not there, but they actually refer to the one and the same account.
Mr. Chairman, what number is that? What
So
item?
letter A on number 13, Mr. Chairman.
So how do we,
So what account? The correct account, because if we make a resolution or an ordinance, it should be the correct account so that
You're right.
We will not do any
Yes.
amendment or whatever but in the next few days.
and then
Because
the account
is
should
not correct.
mention what is this account?
That's right.
Dili kay numero ra.
That's right.
If it is going to be miscellaneous or whatever,
It's under the city-sponsored activities, Mr. Chairman.
tangang ginadiyag, city sponsor.
It's in the documents resolution.
Kani sa naanak, klaro na. Naiuban nga mangutana pa ta dito, saan ni account ta? I mean, why can't ibutang yun ang handaan? So how do we go about it? Member Rama?
It's very clear that it's under the city-sponsored activities, Mr. Chairman. Let's just approve this, Mr. Chairman, since the date of the said event is fast approaching. And given the explanation of the Secretariat, Mr. Chairman, I think
we
should
now-
that, Mr. Chairman.
No, let's katong requirement that it should pass through the Sports Commission. Did it pass?
I believe it passed to the Sports Commission, Mr. Chairman.
Is there documentation that they have recommended?
I have it, Mr. Chairman, and
Have you,
Yes,
okay na
Mr.
ka?
Chairman. Yes, it's already
Okay.
approved.
So wala
I'm
na yung
requesting,
problema.
Mr. Chairman, to provide all the councilors a copy of the board resolution. And in every sports event, Mr. Chairman should pass through the Sports Commission and give us an endorsement regarding the attachments, Mr. Chairman.
Member Alcoseba?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the reason that it should be past sports activities in Cebu City Sports Commission, Mr. Chairman, because in the previous administration before, it happened that it did not pass any resolution from the Sports Commission, and it was a ghost tournament, Mr. Chairman.
That's
So
why-
the reason is so that the Cebu City sports personnel can monitor the event.
Yeah, I've been a member, excuse me, the chair being long enough here, I participated in that sports commission, Member Rama, Member Hontiveros. and we usually have meetings, and we discuss seriously on activities that should be approved by the commission. Otherwise, what's the purpose of that commission, and if it will not be functioning? And it is created by an ordinance. Now, if there was no such thing as being done before, and this is a new Sangguniang Panlungsod, that's why I always tell you, this is a new Sangguniang Panlungsod. This is the 15th, and you are all here, and I have been here years ago, and we always practice during my chairmanship of this council. That's why do not refer in an administration when we were in there. Okay? We are this new 15th Sangguniang Panlungsod. And mind you, I am more observant of the rule of law. And therefore, any violation, I will definitely call your attention. Because inikiha, kasi makiha. Wa ako'y labot, kaya mo break ako. You just always remember that. But I have to be watchful. Because what's my role of being long enough in this council? That's my purpose. Otherwise, ma-appeal kong ingon. Kung sa mga sila, kadugay na diha. So I wish all of us will be guided. Manong balik-balik yung ko, rest, Hontiveros, you're all new, look and check on the documentation. I would have wanted to give that to Mabatid, but I don't know if she has the time to have somebody to look into. Okay, importante yung kayo. So, mao gina akong balik-balik ninyo, okay? So, if there are commission, so palihog, i-attach yun na. Butang yun na, and all should be given a copy. Do you have a copy of the recommendation, Council?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, can we ask Honorable Hontiveros, Mr. Chairman, to give us the copy right now?
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, I was perusing through the documents, Mr. Chairman, and then the representative of Member Resch was present during when the resolution was passed, Mr. Chairman. Although I do agree that it should be attached in the resolution, but in my opinion, Mr. Chairman, there's no legal impediment in approving this resolution, Mr. Chairman, considering, again, that the event is fast approaching, Mr. Chairman. And
No,
we're not...
I'm not saying we will not approve. I'm just telling we should do our job.
Yes, and...
So I wish we all have to do our job. Just like earlier. Precisely, I've been telling you, we asked these people to come. Did they come? The Sinulog.
No,
Because
Mr.
we wanted to ask, what are the official activities? Did you know? Number two, do you know about the organizational structure? Final. No. So precisely, dili na duwa-duwa ng atong trabaho din eh. So anyway, so I think, Member Gabuya?
Yeah, I just want to concur the statement of the presiding officer because under our existing ordinance, the creation of sports commission, all sports activities should pass through the sports commission, Mr. Chairman. All sports activities.
Mr. Chairman, let me reiterate, Mr. Chairman, this activity was attended by more than 11 members, Mr. Chairman. It was discussed thoroughly, and then it was approved unanimously, and then it was recommended for approval.
He is saying,
Yes, I've heard that already, Mr.
Maybe
Chairman.
Member
I am-
Ontiveros can provide the members a
walang
copy later on.
walang tagai
Yes.
ang mga...
Yeah,
Yes.
I've heard that already, Mr. Chairman. What is lacking here is the copy of each member of this council, Mr. Chairman. So, can I just make a corollary motion, Mr. Chairman, with regards to this, Mr. Chairman, to request the Secretariat to do not accept resolutions like this if the documents is incomplete.
Di sila mahimusan.
If I may, sir, we
Mr.
cannot do
Chairman.
that, Mr.
Please,
Chairman.
that. Actually, that is precisely incumbent on the part of the majority floor leader. That is the job. Because making of the agenda is coming from there. And then all of this should be thoroughly checked by the executive assistant. Nagkana kayo naitabo din eh. Naabot ang agenda just talking about not hour. I'm talking about experience. Naghatag og letter. Wa basahan niya ito. Ya letter di ay buang-buang. Gi-agenda. In other words, that's why importante kaayo ang pagbasa sa agenda. But this is not the Sangguniang Panlungsod I'm preparing. Okay, I think we talk about it. What ay problema na, Member Guardo.
Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to be clarified with regard to the comment of Member Dizon, Mr. Chair, with regard to the IPA law. Because on item A, it only mentioned a mayor's cup, and it does not specifically mention the name of the mayor, Mr. Chair. Does it violate the IPA law, Mr. Chairman?
But it would be more prestigious, Mr. Chairman, if we call this event Cebu City, because Cebu City, that includes everyone, not just the mayor, no, but everyone, including us, the city council.
No, my question, Mr. Chair, if it violates the
Actually,
Mr. Chairman,
actually, for a while, you're asking me, so I'll answer you. To avoid nabitan na usahay, we've noticed that na manggawas inyong mga naong diha, niya ang gagasto, ang nag-approve, Sangguniang. Actually, when the Sangguniang approves, it is the city government. Now, sa nato, kung mga approve taog na dihay mayor, na dihay vice mayor, dapat, kung unsa, we should be more on in agreement. Because that's our role. Now, when we approve, ato na. Okay? So, Member Sapra.
Mr. Chairman, I think what Member Dizon is bringing to the attention to the council is just, to request, hopefully, the office of the mayor and the Cebu City government that the next time we should use Cebu City government. So it's just a request from Member Dizon, Member Guardo. I think there's nothing for us to debate more further about that.
I think clear na. Ang kuyaw lang kay maabot nagbalik yapon, yung maglalis lang yapon to diri, you know what I mean?
Z-Cup.
Okay na. Next item.
Comments on letter D and E, Member Hontiveros? Member Hontiveros?
Member Hontiveros.
Yes,
Items D to E?
A is moving for its approval.
Next.
Number 14, proposed resolution of Member Prisca Nina Mabatid.
Moving for the approval of number 14, Mr.
Next.
Number 15, proposed resolution of Member Philip Zafra.
Mr. Chairman, I move to defer considering the absence of the copy of the public hearing, Mr. Chairman, despite the due notice given to the barangay concerned.
Member Sapra, when is the next meeting of the zoning board?
Every week na, Mr. Chairman, kaniha kami.
Matt, why am I not being told to attend? Who is the chairman? Because in the ordinance, if the mayor cannot attend, the vice mayor should attend. So please, Chief of Staff Matt Medalye, how often do we have the meeting, Member Sapra?
Every week, Mr. Chairman.
What day?
Every Tuesday, 10 a.m. Every Tuesday.
Every?
Tuesday.
Every Tuesday, what time?
10.
And what is the...
Usually at the conference rooms, 8th floor.
Because when I was the vice mayor, I'm the zoning board, it has been in the vice mayor's office when I'm the chairman. Member Sapra, who presided?
Usually, Mr. Chairman, the ones that will preside is before. It's Joey Deluge. No?
He is not authorized.
Yeah. So, Mr. Chairman, we'll just address this concern directly to the Secretariat. I've been calling the attention on this, and I will just talk with Attorney Matt Medalye relative thereto, and iron out all of these things, Mr. Chairman, based on the ordinance.
Because based on the ordinance, I would wish, not only wish, the meeting will have to be in my office. in the Vice Mayor's conference room when I will preside. Member Matt Vidali, Member Matt Vidali, Chief of Staff, Member Sapra. So henceforth, per ordinance, zoning board, if the mayor cannot sit, it's the vice mayor will sit.
Mr. Chairman, moving for reconsideration, Mr. Chairman.
What item, Member Rama?
Going back to item 13.
13D.
Item 13.
Because, the Secretariat has a concern. I think
Earlier, Mr. Chairman, I asked for an omnibus approval, items A to E. Then there was
Okay.
a discussion regarding item C. So, because it was a minor amendment, joint resolution with Member Mabatid.
Okay.
But I defer it. So, moving for its approval, items A, B, D, and E.
Second, Mr. Chairman.
D and E. A, B, D, and E.
Ang C, you withdraw, no?
Yes, defer. Mr. Chair.
Deferred? Okay.
I think that was
Go ahead.
number 15. Proposed resolution of Member Philip Zafra.
Mana, mana.
Number 16. Second reading on the proposed ordinance of Member Leia Hapson, entitled An Ordinance Amending Section 5 and Section 7, 7.1,
Is this final deliberation?
7.1 of the City
Ari pa.
Ordinance.
Second
Number
reading. Next item.
17. Third reading and final deliberation on the proposed ordinance of Member Alvin Dizon. An ordinance institutionalizing the first week of June each year as Cebu City Environment Week, providing funds thereof and for other purposes.
Discussion. Just inquiry.
Yes, Mr.
If this will be approved, what do we expect?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. There shall be a committee to be created to do the planning, coordination, implementation of the various activities and programs to ensure the successful observance of.
Who will be in the committee?
In the proposed measure, Mr. Chairman, the committee shall be chaired by the chairperson of the Environment Committee, and the vice chair shall be the head of the Cebu City Environment and Natural Resources Office. And the members are the following: the president of the Association of Barangay Councils, the president of the SQ Federation, the head of the Solid Waste Management Board. That's correct, Mr. Chairman. The head of the Department of General Services, two representatives from the NGOs, one representative from the business sector, and one representative from the religious sector, Mr. Chairman.
Also,
So when we approve this, then it will now be.
Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
Well, I have an ordinance before, and it's already approved, the declaration of Arbor Day. I think it is more related to environment because on the Arbor Day, we have lots of activity, planting, tree planting din na. So if we could adjust the date, that would conform.
Where are we now on the 3 million planting? No, because Trump is already pursuing trillion.
Yeah, Arbor Day.
Layo na ka na sa 3 million, trillion. Member Rama.
although I am for this ordinance, Mr. Chairman, may I just ask the appropriation, Mr. Chairman, how the proponent came up with 3 million, Mr. Chairman?
Are we ready to deliberate this matter now?
It's final deliberation, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, but if we can have the deferment, Member Dizon, if ever, because if there will be some concern, and if it can be answered now, if it cannot be answered now, and there are other questions, we may have to, unless you want to have, because I'm going to bang for a recess for eating.
Yeah,
Member Dizon.
I'm willing to answer questions from the floor, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead, Member Rama.
I'm just wondering how the 3 million will be allocated later on, Mr. Chairman, if this ordinance is approved, Mr. Chairman. Because, in Section 4, it says here the amount of 3 million pesos shall be appropriated annually under the CENRO.
Mr. Chairman, thank you for the question. The proposed appropriation of 3 million will be allocated for the various activities that will be conducted during the celebration. We will be having public exhibits during the celebration and model building to recognize and popularize good practices and innovations on environmental protection. We will also have our own observance of the Earth Hour at the city level every June 5, and other programs and activities that shall promote awareness for the protection conservation of the environment. So dini gastuhon ang 3 million.
Member Dizon, I can see the smile of Member Archibald because we were all original on the 8 hour and then original on the global warming and climate change. And now Member Gaboya is into kanang plant name, ano? Kanang, yeah? That precisely I've been asking Senator Bongo that I want to talk to the President to be serious really on environment because I want everybody to be top if ever. Yeah, hapit na pa mag-July, kapot sa July, mag-reorganization, kamunay, and I will really talk to the President on the environment. So, wala na question?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman,
Member Gabuya.
the reason why ganahan ko ma-sod ba to ang Arbor Day, Mr. Chairman, because it is related to environment. In the Arbor Day is will be on every third Saturday of March, and in the fourth Saturday also, it's the Earth Hour. So it's related to
all na guys lang.
Mr. Chairman.
But it's a 1 week celebration ni ang iyahan, Mr. Chairman. So we can just
So, di mo siya?
so na to din ha.
For a while, 1 minute recess.
Environment Week in line man with this SDG.
Listo, bangir ko na ron nga.
Oh, lagi. Basta nga ako, isud mo ba? Isud.
Member Dizon, I think we are all in agreement. And then, of course, Member Gabuya, we will also be mindful. And as soon as we approve this, we will have to sit down. The Committee on Environment, and then I will be inviting you, Attorney Matt, Idalye, and Sonia, keep track because we have job to do. When this legislation will be approved. Okay? Member Dizon.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Together with Member Nestor Archibald, I move for the approval of this proposed measure, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Adjourn?
Mr. Chairman, move to suspend House rules.
Adjourn na ta?
Move to suspend House rules, Mr. Chairman. I have two resolutions here.
Suspension?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
What is the item between life and death?
Yes, this is about the request of the one sector and tourism industry for the extension of the application for the renewal of license and accreditation. And Humana General.
Renewal. Extension.
They're requesting for.
Is that within our job?
There is already an approval from the mayor. Yes, because it's an ordinance. So I thought it's just proper that we also.
So we will be, when you extend, it will be what? Amendment of an ordinance. Member Rama?
No, I'm just,
I'm just checking. We'll go to Member Rama.
I have a proposed resolution, Mr. Chairman.
What is that?
Resolve to, hereby resolve to declare Sitio Indian, Barangay Tipadilla, Cebu City under state of calamity. Resolve further to charge in the quick response fund in the amount of 1,220,000.
Well, you're talking about money.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. This is state of calamity, Mr. Chairman. Declaration of calamity.
Declaration of calamity.
Together with Member Tumulak, Mr. Chairman.
Matt, we have already an approved financial assistance to a municipality under Vice Mayor Gutierrez, under Vice Mayor, the coach of Manny Pacquiao was the Vice Mayor of, who had a problem at a certain time when they were hit by a typhoon. It's already been approved. Did you keep track on that? Can you please, so that it can be placed in the resolution, approved already by disaster? It's a 2 million assistance. Okay? Anyway, discussion. Carried. Member Sapra?
Yes, you have the point, Mr. Chairman. So the resolution should be read na lang as follows: to grant the request subject to the provision set forth in City Ordinance Number 1578. Just the same. They have to pay the necessary fines and everything.
So you just take charge on that, okay?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Another resolution is that to express the support of these Sangguniang to Cebu City Mayor Edgardo Lobella's visit to the province of Batangas to convey solidarity and assistance to the victims of the Taal volcano.
You know, Member Rama, Ninya, I wish you can follow it up now before I will adjourn. My cousin who died, our first-degree cousin, had served several years at CCMC. She probably have headed also the pediatrics department. And her name is Dr. Deborah Limcho.
Yes.
It will be something that will be in line as an amendment. Member Sapra, can you please assist? And so that we can give the family of the Limcho. By the way, the Limcho, Don Vicente Rama, sister is Susana Rama Limcho. And Edo, because we might have to explain why we are not extending, Sapravi. Yeah, she had worked long, several years in CCMC. And she's now with UCMed. She worked with Europe. She had been doing a lot social activities, actually. Yes. So, Member Sapra, you probably can do and just refine later. Okay? Member Sapra.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, one resolution to express the support of the Sangguniang Panlungsod to the Cebu City Mayor Edgardo Lobella's visit to the province of Batangas to convey solidarity and assistance to the victims of the Taal volcano eruption. So move, Mr. Chairman. Let's do the resolution and conveying our deepest sympathy and heartfelt condolences to the bereaved family of the late Dr.
Deborah Limchu.
Deborah.
Deborah Lemchu, Mr. Chairman.
And,
Was,
and the Rama clan, actually, because she has a blood of Don Vicente Rama.
yes, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, and please have the refinement done, and then we will deliver that today if you can do it. Okay, Member Sapra? Carried next.
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead.
I'll go to the whereas clause, Mr. Chairman. As a proactive approach, the city government of Cebu and its trust to minimize the impact and fear within our city wants to extend its resources in order to make the families feel at ease amid the threat of this worrisome disease. Resolve further to request each barangay to create or establish their own isolation or quarantine room so as to easily monitor their constituents who has respiratory infection prior to sending them to the hospitals and so as not to infect other members of the families.
You're talking
from
about
any
corona?
Respiratory yes,
That's
yes.
why I'm bringing it already to my staff that we should have already with Ninya Mabatid, maybe tomorrow, with Dave Tumolak, we'll have to discuss this matter under the chairmanship of the presiding officer. And you bring your consultant, Katan, so that we will have an expanded discussion of this corona virus. So I wish we will have a meeting. Sonia?
Mr. Chairman, what
Go
time
ahead.
tomorrow?
Is that again?
Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman.
I have not yet finished my
Yeah,
ordinance.
go ahead,
Mr.
finish it.
Resolve further, Mr. Chairman, to urge the City Health Department to provide the necessary assistance to the barangay health centers, specifically also in information dissemination and other necessary measures in order to ensure public well-being and safety. So move, Mr. Chairman.
Actually,
under discussion, Mr. Chairman.
before that will be in a way done, we have to do what we used to do. When I was the mayor, I usually convene right away. And then PIO will have to be apart. And all this thing about EIC, information, communication, and education, very important.
Orally, Rose.
Member Gabuya.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Part of the resolution of Member Tumulak is to request the barangay to make their own isolation room. This should be closely monitored, Mr. Chairman, kay sa barangay good, not all barangays have a space for that, Mr. Chairman. Now, once if there will be a virus or a infected person with coronavirus, kuyaw na hinon kayo kay they are not will burst in how to isolate with that disease, Mr. Chairman. It will only spread ba through the isolation supposed to be established in that barangay. So the city health should come in, Mr. Chairman, to really educate immediately all our barangays on how to deal with this person if ever encountered with the disease, Mr.
That
Chairman.
precisely tomorrow there will be members
Mr.
of
Chairman, I will be,
Public Safety and Mission.
I will be passing a corollary motion to that effect.
Okay, corollary motion, I've already approved. Okay, Member Sapra.
Mr. Chairman, resolve to call to task the following, no, to compose the coronavirus task force. Dili ang impeachment, coronavirus task force that will compose the chairman of the Committee on Health, the City Health Department, the chairman of the Disaster Risk Reduction Management Committee of this council, and City Legal's Office, Committee on Public Order and Safety, Committee on the DSWS,
EIO,
Chairman of the Disaster
PIO.
Council, tingali si
Chairman sa Committee on Disaster Council, and all
Don't
others.
forget about the treasurer.
The city treasurer, of course,
Because
and the administrator, office of the city administrators. Isa pa.
Okay?
So,
And
Mr.
others.
Chairman.
Adjourn? But for a while, before mga adjourn na ay snack. Okay? Nya, before snack, after snack, adjourn. Okay. Adjourn.